welcome to my North Knit Corner. My name is Anne and I come to you from the south of Norway. Here I live with my husband and our 3 boys. And this is my little corner of the internet where I talk about my knitting, yarn, and all the joy this wonderful hobby brings. And if you love yarn and knitting as much as I do, I hope that you want to sit down, find your knitting, your crocheting or sewing, and hang out with me for a while I talk about what I am finished with, what's on my needles. Yeah. So welcome if you have been here before, and welcome if you're here for the first time. I really hope that you will enjoy your time together with me. I have information about everything I talk about in the description box below, and I will have timestamps on this episode. So feel free to skip the parts you don't want to listen to, and yeah, if you need to hear what yarn I used or something, again, you can just skip back. Last week I put up a vlog about a sweater that I frogged. I frogged the Anchors sweater. I wasn't happy with how it was looking and fitting, so I frogged it and I repurposed the yarn and I knitted this sweater that I'm wearing instead. It's the Cassini sweater by Mamma Laget. She's a Norwegian designer, but I think she lives in Germany, something like that. But yeah, I decided to knit this beautiful sweater instead. I love the Anchors. I think it's a great pattern. I was just not happy with the fit because I have chosen probably a size too big for me. So if you're interested and you haven't watched the vlog yet, I will link it up here and below, and take a look if you want to. And thank you to everyone who watched it. I really appreciate it. It was so fun to get so many good comments about it, and that it seemed like you enjoyed it. So thank you. Maybe there will be more in the future. But yeah, let's talk about this sweater. The Cassini sweater. I used the yarn from a Norwegian hand dyer called Kvitlamme. The yarn is the first hand-dyed yarn that I ever bought. It's a few years ago and I bought it at my first podcast meetup. The knitting podcasters here in Norway gather once a year. Mostly we divide the country, so I was together with the people from the south and east of the country, and they also had a meetup in the middle of Norway as well, this last weekend. So I was there. But my first hand-dyed yarn was also bought at my first podcast meet. So it's kind of special. So I wanted to repurpose the yarn to use it and wear it because I really like it. I don't know the color name, but it's a sock yarn 80/20 base and with sparkle in it. And I held it together with Isago Alpaca 1 in the dusky pink color number 61. And I have to say, I think I prefer an alpaca strand of yarn instead of mohair. I think it's very comfortable and very soft. So I really want to use that again. And I only needed 2 balls and a little bit of the third one, not a lot. So I think cost-wise, it's also a great alternative to mohair. I knitted the size 3 on needles 2.5 and 3.5 millimeters, US 1.5 and 4. And it's a really fun lace yoke. I learned it really fast, so it went by pretty fast as well. It was really enjoyable to knit. I always put stitch markers in between my repeats, so it's easy to correct a mistake. without have to ripping back a whole round. So so that is very easy, because even though the pattern is not difficult, it's I do mistakes anyway. I make mistakes anyway. So yeah, that's a tip if you didn't already do it, which I imagine you do. It weighs 359 grams, so I thought I was playing yarn chicken. I got really stressed out. I knitted a bit of the body and started one sleeve, and I just felt like, oh, I don't have enough yarn for this. This is going to be so short. So I was really stressed out there, and I knitted faster and faster, but it went by okay. I have 10 grams left of the sock yarn, so it was no reason to worry. And yeah, like I said, I had 3 balls of the Isago alpaca one, but I only barely broke into the 3rd ball. So I had enough yarn. And it's also really nice with the lace on the sleeve. I think it looks really, yeah, looks good. I like the fit. I'm happy with it and how it turned out. So I'm so happy I frogged that anchor sweater, because the anchors I've used maybe once. This I'm going to wear so much more this fall and winter. So yeah, that's my Cassini sweater. Then I have knitted some socks. They are right here. Ooh. And I'm sure you know who the designer is just by looking at them. This is the Gelato socks by Stone Knit. I have this great book, Charming Colorwork Socks, and I think maybe she's about to give out another one. So this is my 3rd pair from this book. I've knitted the one with the hens or chickens on, and also the coffee break socks, I think they're called. So now I wanted the ice cream one. I used the sock set for this from Garnbutikken Fortuna. Their Easter colorway for this year. They always make a special Easter colorway. So it's the yellow one, and it also had 2 minis with it. So it's this turquoise color, and this pink one. The orange brown here is also from Garnbutikken Fortuna. It's only called from the laboratory because it's a one of a kind. And the white one is not sock yarn at all. It's Holst Highland wool, which I got a little mini from Lauren in Work Knits for my or for our the swap we did in December. So I got a little mini, about 12-13 grams I think, and I thought I could use it for this. Yeah, I knitted the size 1/2 because I started on the size 1 on 2.25 millimeter needles and 3 millimeter needles, which is US 1 and 2.5. But then I stopped after I've done the color work, tried it on my foot, and I couldn't get it over my heel. And that was really sad because I was so happy with how the color work looked. It was so even and nice. Then I was lazy and I just ripped back the color work, but I didn't want to do the ribbing again. So I just increased right after the ribbing to the second size, and then I did the color work, and then I decreased just before the heel. Yes, that's what I did. So it's only the color work that has the size 2, the rest is size 1. But yeah, what can I say? I'm not super happy with them. I don't really like the way the color work is. The pattern is great, but I think it's really difficult to do color work in socks in that small circumference. So I'm afraid to do it too tight, and then I think I did it too loose. So it's not really even. You especially can see it on this one, I think. I have washed them and blocked them, and it looks better, but still very wobbly, I think. But oh well, they are just for me, and I guess I just have to practice to work out how to do it without getting all this bubbling. And I am a very loose knitter, so I'm not happy with the knitting. I wish I knit them tighter, so this is more, how can I say it, tighter fabric, because I think it's too loose, and I'm afraid that I will only get to wear them a couple of times before they are getting holes in them. But I don't know how to change my loose knitting. I am on 2.25 millimeters. Maybe I can go down to 2, but I'm not sure it will help much. So I wish I was a tighter knitter. So, well, that's my Gelato socks. They weigh 60.4 grams. My last FO today is actually a Christmas gift. I'm so happy that I've started my gift knitting, because my goal is not to stress in December. This is the Chunky Dahlia by Knitty or Lene Holme Samsø. This is a Christmas gift for my big sister. I started this on Thursday last week. I started on the ribbing for the neckline, and then I almost finished the neckline on Thursday night. Then on Friday I got on a train because I was going to this podcast meetup, and I was going to stay the weekend with a fellow knitting podcaster, and on the train I knitted all of the leaf motif, so all the way down here. And that's because it's supposed to take about, I think, maybe 4 hours. Yeah, 4.5 hours I think the train takes from here. But when we had been on the train for a couple of hours, it just stopped. The power went out and they had no power, and we stayed in a place, like stopped in a place where there was nothing, just a lot of forest around us and straight down on the sides. And we were there for 2.5 hours, and it was so hot and no oxygen almost. It was not fun at all. Yeah, I was happy I had my knitting. Because if it hadn't been that warm, because it was a really warm day, I think it was like 26, 27 degrees. Even though it's fall here now, we had some really hot days last week. Yeah, I had my knitting. So I knitted all of this because we were 3 hours too late into Oslo, where I was going. So yeah, at least I got to knit all of that, even though it was boring to wait on the train. And then this weekend I knitted a lot, of course, because I was together with my knitting podcaster friend, and then on Sunday we had this meetup with fellow podcasters. So on Monday morning, when I was back on the train to go home. I was almost done with the body. I have knitted both the sleeves, and I did the rest of the body and the ribbing on the train. So I bound it off on the train back home. So happy with it. And it's the size large, and I knitted on needles 5.5, 6 and 7 millimeter needles, which is US 9, 10 and 10.5. So thick needles, so it goes by really fast. And I haven't told you what yarn I've used. It's Drops Air, and in the color 11, Peacock Blue, and I think it's beautiful. It has this purple in it as well, which is probably not easy to see on camera, but it just happens so much in this yarn. Yeah, and I put in a little tag so she can see what's the back. Only says handmade. Yeah, weighs 265 grams, so I used just a little bit more than 5 balls of yarn. So hopefully she will get happy with this. The increases are in the lace yoke, and then when you're done with the lace, it's just a couple of rounds with raglan before you split for the sleeves and just knit the body straight down. And the arms are, or the sleeves are also just straight down. Then you do a rapid decrease before you do the ribbing. So you get this kind of balloon shape on the arms or the sleeves. I have a few things on the needles. Some are reoccurring and some are new. The first one is the Virginia top by Joji Locatelli, and if you've been here before, you've seen it before. Or actually you haven't, because I had a little accident. You start the Virginia top with a provisional cast on the, like on the top of the shoulder, and then you knit the back and the front afterwards. So you take up the provisional cast on to do the front. And when I was knitting, I had like these cords, yeah, you know, this tubing you use to take on your needles and take your stitches onto these cords. I use these for my provisional cast on, and I had tightened them, but the knot had like gotten loose, so accidentally I pulled out this cord when I was knitting, and I lost a lot of stitches, like, and I couldn't save it because it's so much lace on this vest, that I just couldn't save it. So I had to rip it all out and start again. So much fun. But actually, when I ripped out the needles, I could like see the full size of the vest, and I saw that this is going to be too big for me. So actually, this was the size 3, but then I decided I'm going to cast on the size 1. So even though it was boring with this accident happening and that I had to frog it all and start again, it actually was good, because then I didn't have to end up with something that was too big. So this is how far I have come. And I think this is going to fit very nicely. This is the yarn from Through the Wardrobe yarn in the color Lyra's Oxford. And I am knitting the size 1, as I say, on 2.5 and 2.75 millimeter needles, which is US 1.5 and 2. Tell me if you want to know the US size or not, or if it's just not necessary. I want to be inclusive. That's why I do it. But let me know if it's not necessary, because then I won't. I can't learn them because it doesn't make sense to me how the US and the millimeters hang together, if you know what I mean. So it's hard for me to learn what's what. So I always have to look down. So if it's not necessary, then please tell me. But I'm happy to continue doing it as well. Back to this. I think this is a lot of fun to knit. It's a very nice lace on this, but it takes a lot of time. It's not something that I want to knit on every day because I really have to concentrate. It's difficult to watch TV or podcast when I do this. Yeah. So just a few rows every other day, maybe. It's all it's getting. But I don't mind to have a project that takes a little bit longer. That's okay. I have split for the arm, not split for sleeves exactly, because I'm not going to have sleeves, but you know what I mean. So now I'm just going to knit the body. There is some waist shaping happening, I think, so I have to knit a little bit before I start on those. But I can't memorize this. I have to look at the chart all the time. Yeah, but that's okay. It's okay to have something that's a little bit more. You have to use your brain a little bit more and pay attention. What else can I say about it? Yeah, when I did provisional cast on the first time, I did the one where you use the crochet hook, but I think that is very fiddly, and I didn't want to do it when I had to do it again. So what I did was, I think it's called a Turkish cast on, which is basically, I use the cord, but think that this is the cord and this is the needle, and you just do like this, as like how many stitches you need, and you just turn around and you start to knit. It's not easy, but you just start to knit on the top, and then yeah, I can link a tutorial. I think Anne Ramori has a great one down in the description box if you are interested in that, because I can really recommend it, and I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks okay. Yeah, and it's much easier than to use the crochet hook, in my opinion. That is my Virginia top. It might come back for a few podcasts, because I don't think it's going to be finished for a few months yet. And then I am still knitting on the Tonight top from Lily Kate France, but this one I think I will be done with pretty soon. I wanted to knit one in black, so I decided to go for Filcolana Arvetta. And this is just wool and nylon. It's a sock yarn. And I think it's going to be a very great piece to have in my wardrobe. So it has this mock neck and double edges on the, or double knitting on the edges of the arms. Yeah, black is not very easy to show on the screen, but it's going to be very good. I am knitting the size 2 on needles 2 and 2.5 millimeters, US 0 and 1.5. And it attracts a lot of dust. But yeah, I'm soon done with the length on the body. I don't think I'm going to have it a lot longer, but maybe a little bit. So I will be done with this pretty soon, I think. It was really difficult to pick up the stitches for the double knitted edging. I didn't see anything. I had to use my studio lights that I have on up there to try and see where to put my stitches, but I think it's turned out pretty okay. I hope so. I can't really tell. But I don't think it is really bunchy, and I think it's going to be okay when I wash and block it, so hopefully that looks good. This I'm very excited to have done because I think I can use it a lot during the fall together with a cardigan or something like that. Then when I was going on my trip, I needed something else to knit on, not only the chunky Dahlia, because it's thick needles and my hands get very tired. So I needed something easy and something that didn't take a lot of room. So I cast on a Musselburgh hat. It's my go-to hat pattern and easy knitting project. It's from Isolde Teague. I had this yarn from Stülenstrikk, a Norwegian hand dyer. The color is called Strandlek or Beach Play, and it looks like this knitted up. I'm knitting the adult medium size on needles 2.5 millimeters, US 1.5. And it's, I'm sure you've heard about the Musselburgh, but you just knit the tube and you put the one side into the other one, and ta-da, you have a very nice hat. And it's perfect for those one skeins you have in your stash with beautiful hand dyed. So I don't know who's going to get this hat. Maybe one of my boys wants it, or I can put it in my gift basket. The next one is just a little project as well, because when I was done with the chunky Dahlia, I still had almost one ball of yarn left of this Drops Air in peacock blue. So I just took 6 millimeter needles, US 10, and cast on a headband. I just cast on 40 stitches and I'm just knitting in the round. And I'm just going to knit it as long as I need to get it around my head, and I'm going to sew a twist on it. So you get this little twist on the top of the head. That's it. Not a very exciting project, but it's very mindless and easy, and I really just want to use up this yarn. That's my goal. I think maybe I will have something left, but at least there won't be a lot. My last work in progress is a test knit for Hannah in her garden knitwear. She has designed another beautiful shawl, and I am so lucky that I get to test knit it for her together with a wonderful group of other test knitters. And it's and I'm going to say this name wrong, I'm sure, but it's called the Féth shawl, something like that. Putting it on the screen so you can see. Originally it's knit with one fingering and one lace, but I decided to go for a DK weight yarn. I decided to knit with the Per Gynt tweed. It's the number 1035. I'm knitting on needles 3.5 US 4, but I think she recommends the needle size 4.5 millimeters, but I needed to go down to 3.5 to get gauge. And I will try to show it as best I can. Oh, it's not easy because it's just folding up. And I really like the tweed yarn and how it's looking in this shawl. It's very easy with yeah. What was I going to say? With knits and pearls, and then it's also some cabling, not much, but a little bit. And it's just so fun. It's so well written, like all of Hannah's patterns are, and yeah, I'm just really enjoying knitting on this shawl. And it's fun to see how the other testers are doing as well, with all of the different yarn choices. Yeah, they all get like a different look, or yeah, even though it's the same pattern, you can see the variety in the different yarns, so that's a lot of fun. It's not much more to say about this yet. I'm just enjoying the test knit, and so grateful to Hannah that I get the chance to do it. And I think this is going to be a lovely shawl. Right now it's kind of stiff and rustic, but when I wash it, I know it will really soften up. And Per Gynt is 100% Norwegian wool, which, of course, being a Norwegian, I love. And it smells very sheepy, which I also love. So I like to keep track of how much yarn I get into my stash and how much I knit up throughout the year. So we're going to do a summary for August, even though we are far into September now. But I like to just see. I haven't taken I haven't weighed all the yarn I have. It's a plan for December. I think maybe for Vlogmas I will do weigh all of the yarn in my stash and all the scraps and everything. But now I'm just looking at what I've gotten in this year and seeing what I knit up. So in August I knitted up 937.8 grams of yarn. I knitted a cactus, a few summer tops, a cardigan, some socks, and some dishcloths. But I acquired a lot of yarn. I did 2,550 grams of yarn got into my stash last month. But since I am looking at the year as a whole, I still have knitted up more than I have acquired so far. So now I'm on the net negative of 1,172.7 grams. So I have a little bit wiggle room still, but I hope that I will try not to buy too much yarn for the rest of the year. It will probably be something. I have bought yarn in September, but yeah, I hope that I can knit a lot of the yarn that I've acquired for the last few months, because there's been quite a bit and I really want to knit it up. But yeah, I haven't own yarn joy and plans segment for this episode. I have made a fall planning video, so if you want to see what I have acquired and what plans I have, take a look at that. I will link it below. And thank you to all of you who has watched it. It's been so much fun to hear all of your feedback on that. And yeah, I'm always happy to hear when people get inspired, because that's my goal. I really want to share just, yeah, some of the beautiful patterns from wonderful designers out there, and also spread some knitting joy. Yeah, that's what I want. Just spread the love for yarn and knitting. So I just want to thank you again for all the love for the vlog that I made about the frogging of the anchor sweater and making of this, and again for the fall knitting video that I made. You guys are the best. You are so encouraging, and I just really appreciate the knitting community so much. It just really means a lot to me that you want to spend some of your precious time together with me. And before I go, I just want to say thank you so much to Sophie of Cozy Meadow Knits, who mentioned my channel on her last episode. That really means so much to me, Sophie, and I really appreciate all of the kind words you said about me and my channel. And I can see that there are several new subscribers, so I imagine that they come over from your channel. So thank you, Sophie. And if you haven't watched Cozy Meadow Knits, I highly recommend that you take a look. I will link her podcast below. She's such a lovely person, and she knits the most beautiful things, and I always love the color choices that she makes, and it's just such a cozy, warm-hearted podcast, so highly recommend. And like I said, I will link her podcast below. So thank you again, Sophie, and welcome to all of you new subscribers. I really appreciate that you have come over to my little corner of the internet, and to all of the other subscribers as well who has been with me for a while. I really love that you are here, and yeah, I've said it 1,000 times, but I appreciate you, and I'm thankful for you and for our love for the craft that we share. So yeah, thank you again for all the likes, for the beautiful comments, and if you are not subscribed already but you enjoyed the content here, please consider subscribing. That really helps my channel out a lot, so I can share the love for knitting to more people. Take care of yourself and the people around you, and I hope you have good days filled with lots of happy knitting. And I will see you again very soon. Bye, friends.